All right, guys, I'm nervous. This is not an easy topic for me to talk about. I feel like frozen in my thoughts, uh, recovering, as they call it, from narcissistic conflict. Maybe that's a better way to say it. I don't like the A word. There are a lot of forums and Reddit groups and things that are dedicated to people who have gone through this. And there's something that feels a little bit empowering about being able to talk through all of these things and be able to see it all at once, because for me, it's really hard. Like, it kind of all floats in my head a lot. And I think it's hard for my brain to hold on to a big picture of what actually happened. It's like my brain protects itself from being able to see this like 40,000 foot view of my childhood and the impacts of things. My father passed away in 2020 from cancer that had spread and nobody knew about. And he really didn't take good care of himself. And since then, I think my whole family's been mourning, of course, because he was a really just lighthearted, wonderful, great guy. I have a background in psychology, and I have been in therapy for myself, personal, therapy with licensed therapists for now, gosh, almost 30 years. I also used to facilitate small groups for personal and social adjustment. At 43 years old now, after a lifetime of therapy and education, after all of this time, I still did not see that my own crazy upbringing had a lot of narcissism in it. And I just never like actually put those things together. Narcissism isn't something that I think I really understood until recently, even with my background, because, well, I was working with a local psychologist, and I was helping her sort of close up her case files and summarize, sometimes months of notes that she would write for all of these sessions that she would hold, to close out the file and kind of give an overall synopsis of what the care centered around, what they were being treated for, what their progress was, and things like that. The thing about narcissism, I wish there was a shorter word for narcissism. The thing about narcissism is that I think it's really heavily underdiagnosed. People who have those qualities probably are not really interested in personal growth and social like adjustment. And so they don't go to therapy, they don't go into those settings where they might get a diagnosis. And if they were to get a diagnosis, they probably wouldn't share it openly with a lot of people. I'm so scared to do this. I don't exactly have main character energy, if you know what I mean. This is not easy for me. I don't even want attention at my own wedding. But I do think that there is something that compels me to share experiences. Maybe you're like me and you are over 30, 35, 40, and just sort of now being able to step back and see what your family dynamics really were like, how they impacted you. Maybe it's because you're a parent yourself, because that's, I think, what set me off into a deeper level of understanding of all of it. We do it for all sorts of different reasons. Gosh, I'm nervous. This is such a vulnerable thing to talk about, because I don't personally, I feel like I learned early on not to show weakness because it was taken advantage of and poked at a lot. What I'm thinking I will do is share a 3-part series that talks about my early childhood and how my narcissistic stepmother came into my life, my middle and teenage years where a lot of the real obvious stuff I think took place, and then adulthood. I'm going to start in early childhood and walk through these 3 parts that I'm sort of sectioning out, not to trauma dump in any way, but to perhaps give someone out there a sense of understanding or relatability, I guess, because I think a lot of this, for a long time, I assumed A, that I was a problem, that I was the problem, B, that somehow this person saw something in me that I didn't see. And I believed that they were like me and that they actually wanted to find clarity or better understand things, and give credit where credit was due, right? There were a lot of assumptions that I made as a kid that now I realize are just done in the good nature of being a kid. You look up to your parents and you want to believe the best in them. I think we make a lot of excuses for our parents when we're young because that's all we've got. We can't do anything about it most of the time. The reason that I think it's so important for us to share our experiences with narcissism is because it is, I think, a lot more common than we realize. And we encounter narcissists in a variety of places in our lives. And that looks different, right, in different places. But the damage can be real. I don't want to enable any narcissism around me in any way without realizing it. And that includes for my children, for the rest of my family, for myself. I think for me to understand it a bit better and to relieve myself of some of the heartache and stress that I've lived with for the last 40 years would be really healthy. And I don't know, maybe you guys will have some words of wisdom or similar experiences. I'm not a really big fan of narcissists, but I don't condone any violence, any harassment of any sort. This is all about people finding their own way forward. So I'm nervous to talk about it, but at the same time, I'm hoping this will feel very empowering, and I don't need to keep trying to maintain a relationship with someone who I don't need to maintain a relationship with. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see the series, and let me know if there's anything that you have experienced that you would want to talk about, because everybody's experience is truly unique. All right. All right.